All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the 17th of March, 2020. I'm Roy Potter. I wasn't planning on doing this. I say that quite a bit. Uh, I've had some friends contact me and wonder how things are going, and, I've been telling them about it. By the way, welcome as you come in. Hopefully, this won't be a very long one. I just have a few things to do. Again, welcome as you come in. Uh, Yeah, I'm watching these things unfold and what's happening, and ladies and gentlemen, things are spinning out of control. Before I get to that, I want to make one statement. There's a lady who's followed me here and on Twitter. I don't know if she's following now. Apparently, she blocked me, uh, and I'm not certain why. Not that it really affects me. It's just that these things are so common on YouTube and Twitter, where I'm not sure what happens. I don't know if these people are bait you in as friends or whatever, and then when you start to have any kind of uh, communication, all of a sudden, when you're texting or when you're making tweets or twittering or whatever you want to call it, it's very hard to express what it is you're really saying. And this person will know what I'm talking about. I thanked her for her work, and then I said, and thank you for what you're doing in Vegas. Now the thing is she's not in Vegas, so I confused her with. I'll tell you who I was confusing her with was the one that's on here. Um, and I'm still not sure how to say it. You'll have to forgive me. Sterali Mistriel. It's probably Saint something Mistriel. But anyway, you know who you are, and you told me about the spraying of the schools in Vegas. And you look in your picture, you look very similar to this other person. And so I thought, I confused that in my mind. And anyway, so then she said she was crying, and I said, I'm sorry you're crying. And the next thing I know, she said, I'm sure you are, and blocked me. Now, that's very immature. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's why I'm really cutting down on a lot of my contacts. I used to be friends with a lot of people there, and then inevitably, over the course of time, especially if it's not their real name or that type of thing, man, it just gets crazy. Um, so anyway, I just want to say that. Now, I don't care if she keeps me blocked. I really don't care. But if you folks want, I don't have more interactions with you on the DMs on Twitter or on the comments. That's exactly why. It's a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. Almost everybody that I've taken the time to meet that's asked to do so off of the Twitter situation or even off of YouTube, it's actually been a disaster. I'll just tell you, most of the time I find out they're lunatics. Okay, just the fact of the matter, which is really disheartening to me to think that that's my audience. But maybe that's the idea. And I'm not calling all of you that. It's just beyond the pale. It really is. Okay, why am I really coming on this morning? Primarily, what convinced me to do it was Gigi Sims put out a Twitter thread this morning, and I want to read it to you. And Gigi Sims is somebody that I follow on Twitter. I have had direct contact with her. I've never talked to her in person, but we have DM'd quite a bit. And her work has been extremely good. And that's all I'll say about it. Of course, like anything, you have small disagreements, but by and large, I've just loved everything that she has done, and I mean everything. I know you're not all like that, Diane. It's just it's just disheartening. It just really is. Okay, well, let me read this to you because this will set the stage. And Gigi is exactly right, and she's saying exactly what I've said this entire time. Something else is going on here with this Wuhan virus situation. There's something. Now, Monograph says that, and I've said this for a long time. I've said that, the Sessions thing. Oh, we got Huber, that was pushed off. Then we got Barr in there, and things are pushed off. And then Durham comes, and it was, well, Durham might have something by February. Well, that's probably not going to happen. But Barr did say for sure it was going to be spring, late spring or early summer. Well, now it's pushed to late summer. Do you see what it's? These are called delaying tactics. They're delaying tactics. They know exactly what they're doing. And Durham instead goes, and I'm going to read you headlines with a voice here to tell you about that too, Nancy Morgan Hart. Durham goes after this guy who supposedly threatened Schiff. I'm not saying it's right to threaten Schiff, but I mean, come on. When you have treasonous, seditionists in the government, in our agencies that are supposed to protect us, and he's going after a guy who's blowing off some steam, man, unbelievable. Delay for what, Erna? That's exactly the question. What the hell? And I'm including Trump in that. Let me just read you what Gigi says, okay? Oh, by the way, all of my YouTube connections on my computers, all of them are done. I don't know why I can still access it on my phone, but if you ever see that I'm not doing this or posting on YouTube or Twitter, you'll know they got the rest of me. But my stuff is shot, okay? There's no way I can get on. They probably changed something at YouTube itself. Nancy Morgan Hart was telling me that, now if you don't have a Google account or I forget the other one, but at any rate, that you can't get access. Well, I've got both, and it's still not working. So, and I don't even like having a Google account or a Gmail. I don't like those. I don't like them at all. But at any rate, let me read you what Gigi Sims is saying here. Okay, this is not a really long thread, but you need to pay attention. Can you hear me okay? Can you give me a 5x5? Because on my phone, my phone does not have the ability for a direct mic connection. I'm sorry, I have to use it's Martial. Okay, remember Marshall is Martial, not the name of a person. Okay, so the sound's okay. It's 5x5. Good. Let me read this to you. It's very, very important because it's exactly how I've been pointing things out. So she gave this 7 hours ago. If you follow Gigi Sims on Twitter, or if you want to look at her Twitter, it's at the number 1, capital GIGI, capital SIMS. Okay, let me do that again. At number 1, capital GIGI, capital SIMI. I'm sorry, capital SIMS. Gigi Sims. So it's at 1 Gigi Sims. She posted this 7 hours ago. Listen to this. I find it impossible to believe that POTUS would risk all that he has built with the election months away without concrete intel. Something is clearly afoot and we are not being informed. What have I been saying? In my humble opinion, keeping us uninformed is a risk not worth taking. Real Donald Trump, she says, sorry, I'm not reading this very well. In my humble opinion, how these tweets are. In my humble opinion, keeping us uninformed is a risk not worth taking, real Donald Trump. The numbers don't add up. Nothing about this thing is adding up. Nothing. Now, I've been following Shepard Ambellas. I know the information he's putting out. I understand what's happened in Italy and all that, but I think something entirely different than the Wuhan is going on here. The problem with the bioweapon accident conspiracy is that the numbers don't support it. Usually with a bioweapon, you're going to have a lot of casualties, a lot of them up front, and there's some other issues. The way it's been deployed and used is significantly as a bioweapon, but if nothing more than propaganda. And that's also a definition of that. But let me finish reading. I'm sorry. The problem with the bioweapon accident conspiracy is that the numbers don't support it. The death tolls and loads on healthcare don't justify the willingness of the entire globe to follow along, shut down their countries while also blowing up their economies. The scary elephant in the room that no one is discussing is that the citizens from every country are willing to go along absent of concrete facts. The real world consequences are staggering. It won't be long before everyone demands answers, and before long, they may not ask nicely. I support real Donald Trump, President Trump, and there is nothing that will keep me from voting for him in November. But the numbers just don't add up. These are legit questions that everyone with a brain is asking, so don't bother coming at me with any childish attacks accusing me of being disloyal or not supporting our president. It's the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Amen. Gigi. Let me bring up another subject very quickly. Where have you heard that before? Alex Jones, separately, briefly, and then he goes into a spiel on his products. I was going to do that as a joke, but I just can't. I just can't. Briefly. Oh, it's always briefly, and it's like, you know, I love what Infowars puts out by and large, but those damn one continuous run-on commercials just drive me nuts. And he always figures a way to get it in. Okay, the other thing, let me just go ahead and bring it up. Nancy Morgan Hart, headlines with a voice. She might even be on here this morning. She often does come on when I'm here. Hi, Liza Jean. Thank you. Thank you. I've had a lot of bad trolls on here, ma'am, and it's been crazy. I don't know about now, but I've been doing something they didn't like. Probably being critical of Trump now, that's the big thing. But at any rate, yeah, if you could watch that, I'd sure appreciate it. So Nancy Morgan Hart of Headlines with the Voice has been putting up some very good things. One about the closure of so much of California. I had somebody make a sly statement. I put up a phony title this morning. No, I was in a rush, and it still is true. California is getting shut down. When you take San Francisco and almost 7 million people, LA's not far behind. So no, that's not a misleading title. It's coming. It's here. It's just they're doing it incrementally. But at any rate, people need to be. It's like I said with this person that got all upset over something I have no idea. We get these people that they can't take the information as it comes. They got to be little nitpicky pricks. And that's how I feel about you when you do that kind of stuff. Now, here's this problem that I'm seeing. Trump is not doing anything to protect your Second Amendment. It's hogwash, much less your First. Isn't it interesting that now the mayor of New Orleans says that she has the power under the emergencies to ban firearms and alcohol? Gee, shades of Katrina. Now, why alcohol? Why are they going after the alcohol? Well, you can surmise. Oh, people, when crazy things happen, they start drinking too much and they can't control themselves. That's only one reason, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the real reason. I'm not going to mention what the real reason is here because it would definitely be a key word, and I'm not going to do it for ComSec sake, communication security. I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to tell you something. They're coming after all of your rights, all of them. Not only are they now interfering with your right to peaceably assemble and assemble with whom you wish, but they're and attacking your Second Amendment. They're now attacking your ability to have and share the alcohol of your choice. It's here, and it's going to get worse. Now, alcohol isn't just for getting drunk. It really is a medicinal tool. It can be used to wash wounds. It can be used as an antibiotic or at least a gargle. It can be used to, you remember when your mom is giving you a hot toddy. She'd probably go to jail for child abuse these days, but in my day, my mom would mix a little bit of brandy or whiskey with honey and lemon. They don't want you to have anything at your disposal that can help you. Do you understand? Nothing. So, I wanted to bring that up. Champaign, Illinois was the other one. The mayor of Champaign, Illinois, and the mayor of New Orleans. They've both done the same thing, and a lot more are coming. A lot more are coming, and Trump does nothing. Yes, local states, counties, local municipalities have quite a bit of leeway in how they administer things. But they cannot, because of the Republican form of government guaranteed us, infringe on the Constitution and on the Second Amendment. This is getting out of control and nothing's being done. So, now headlines with a voice. Nancy has been talking about this whole thing in California and that it's not making any sense. Please go look at her channel. She's on here. A lot of you follow her. But she put out some information this morning on the closure in San Francisco, something I did yesterday, but she always does it in such a succinct, professional way. She's really amazing. I'm always amazed with her. So she got that information out. on the closures in California and the hypocrisy of it all. And then she mentioned the Durham thing, which is something I've been pounding on for a long, long time. Durham went and arrested this guy, as I was talking about, who apparently said that he was going to clean Schiff's clock. So we have all these traitors, all these seditionists, all these criminals within Durham's own DOJ, and he's still investigating. He's not arrested one of them, but one guy who has a blowout, he goes after him. There is something really, really wrong with Durham. Really, really wrong. I'm going to lower this a little bit. This is just getting ridiculous. This is just absolutely outrageously ridiculous. So we're in a fit of a problem, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you don't want to hear that. I've not ever been one who goes through and just gives you sugar-coated candy. Unfortunately, I don't always give you any good information either, but how can I? How can I possibly give you good information when there have been no arrests of anybody in the deep state, and the ones that could have been indicted have been let go, and the excuse was what? Oh, these are minor crimes. When I was a cop, you added those lesser included offenses into the final indictment or the final information or whatever it is, at what level of government you're using, warrant, whatever. You know, I cannot believe, with as Gigi Sims has pointed out. Now she's not going this far, but I will. Trump is putting on a show. He is putting on a show, and something else is in the background, and it's not something good. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if they do see a rock flying through space that's going to hit Earth, and so they're just trying to get everybody locked down before it happens. Because this thing they're saying how long for the next 2 weeks, but it could go on until the end of the summer. This whole thing, and it'll get worse. And yet I got to tell you, if the numbers are really as bad as they are, I have people that I know that are sick. Okay, I don't know if it's with the H1N1 or the Wuhan virus. But I don't see that many people sick, okay? And as I told you, Brand Thornton in Vegas is not seeing anything, and yet now I understand that the Vegas schools or something, or they closed the casinos there now. Well, why? Is it because this germ is about ready to really explode? Well, that's a possibility. That's a possibility. But you know what? There's something different about this virus, or at least the story behind it. It's mortality rate and its R naught factor and all that, that despite everything that Mike Adams has done on Natural News and everything that Shepard Amblis has said, there's something else going on here. And Trump knows about it, and he's playing along with it. Absolutely 100%. He's not giving us the truth. Okay, we can't. Well, I'll agree. I mean, it's like this lady, who booted me off for whatever. I still haven't figured out what the hell that was about. And again, it doesn't hurt my feelings. It's just, if that's the mindset of the people that I'm drawing, I'm really giving this up now. Like Diane said, most of you aren't like that, but this is really getting discouraging. So, at any rate, a lot of Americans really can't handle shit, okay? They can't. But this isn't making any sense. They're restricting your right to assemble. They're restricting your right to even leave your home. It's getting to that point, to travel, to meet people, to go to restaurants. They're closing down. Do you realize the food industry, the restaurant industry is one of the major parts of our economy? Why would Trump willingly do that? Do you really think that the evidence suggests that it's that important? Well, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I don't think people are being infected with what we think they're being infected with, the people that are really dying from this. And even those numbers. I mean, yeah, you can do the numbers game and it looks bad. But I tell you, something else is going on. I've told you. That's just the case. So at any rate, I guess I'm just repeating myself now. But I am very concerned about what we're seeing, and no longer can anybody convince me that Trump hasn't been a placater, someone to sedate us so that we don't react to all this crap that's going on. He's been a slow-mo HRC. That's exactly what he is. Despite all of the words and despite all of the niceties and the fact that he looks strong and he's got a gorgeous wife and what appears to be a nice family, something's wrong. Something's really wrong. They didn't need to placate the left because the left is upset anyway, right? And that's the type of upset they want. No, they had to keep the conservatives under wraps. And anything that could keep us from demanding real constitutional principles, they were willing to do. So what's coming down the road? Is there going to be a nuclear weapon in the Atlantic Ocean, or is it really going to be a rock, an asteroid from outer space? Monty suggests that monograph. Or is it the fact that Trump is the general, which is starting to look like it, or he's just totally an idiot? And I can't believe that, although I could tell you that behind the scenes some people are calling him a fool and an idiot, or he's a tyrant in disguise, just like the Democrats accuse him of. But they're really, if that's the case, then he's exactly what they want. I mean, what has he done? What has he not done that they would have wanted in the first place? More debt, taking care of the illegal immigrants, more money to Planned Parenthood. What has he not done that they would want? Again, it's a fight between the mafiosos. It has nothing to do with the restoration of the Constitution or any of that. So whatever this thing is disguising, they're locking us down to keep us from travel, which is one of the things that they do. I was part of the thing that wrote up the FEMA plans back in the 90s. I know how this thing works. And it's all coming out just as I wrote it. But those were for real emergencies, like if we had a freaking atom bomb go off and you have bands of robbers, everything that's good can be used for evil and vice versa. Okay, I'm rambling on now. I just had to come on and tell you that I'm concerned that, as Gigi Sim said here, and I'll say this one more thing. Well, I'll read this one more thing from her. In my humble opinion, keeping us uninformed is a risk not worth taking, Donald Trump. The numbers don't add up. Again, Shepard, if you're watching, and of course the information, Mike Adams doesn't pay any attention to me. I don't blame him. But he's working off numbers that, that the governments are making available to them. We don't even know if any of that's true. And if this thing really is the danger that it is, right? If it's really what the danger is, why is air travel continuing? Oh, that's probably going to stop shortly. But it's way behind the power curve. Why is the southern border still open? Yet we can send, well, a lot of people were saying this Defender 2020 was actually turning into chaff. No, it's not. No, it's not. So I went to the U.S. Army Europe website and I downloaded the information. Could they be lying to us? Oh, maybe, but probably not under the circumstances. And no, that's not what this is. As a matter of fact, they've really reduced the number of troops, U.S. troops that are over there. They're going to be using the ones that are already there. Yeah, U.S. mail is being delivered. Exactly. Another indication. Amazon stuff is still coming through. And yet, so airline travel hasn't been stopped yet. They're locking down cities. They're taking guns and alcohol away from you in New Orleans and in Champaign, Illinois, and more will follow, right? And the southern border, where the troops should be, they were being sent over to this Defender 2020. Again, I'm saying that's been cut back now. But, I mean, good grief. They can use the National Guard to put up checkpoints in the United States, to do all of these things that they're doing here against the American citizens, but they can't use the National Guard at the border to stop this invasion? Come on. Come on, Trump. You're lying. You're lying. You're a liar. The Democrats have been accusing you of being a liar because that's a cover. You're playing the victim so that you can do all these things behind our backs and then claim, oh, they won't let me do this. I have to do this because they won't let me do that. And I'm the victim. Don't call me responsible because look, they're accusing me of being a liar and a dictator. I'm really not. I'm really not. They're just calling me that. But I really am. I really am. You can't convince me otherwise. Sorry, Gigi. Sorry, Nancy. Sorry, BP Earthwatch. Sorry, all of you people. We've been had. And we're going down. Alex Jones said yesterday that this is a big drill. Well, it's more than a drill. Okay? And the American people are going to be the sheeple that they've been all of this time, and they're going to put up with it. The mayor of New Orleans and the mayor of Champaign are banning alcohol and firearms. And nobody in the DOJ, under Trump's direction, sues them for violation of your rights. The very time you need your weapons, like in Katrina, or when the place has gone nuts and you have looters and criminals coming after you, that's when you need your weapons. And at the most critical time, that's when they're going to take them from you? Wow. Okay, I'm going to go. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix my situation with doing live streams on YouTube. I don't even know if I can upload videos anymore. Looks like, and I really suspect that this phone connection, I have the Google connection on my phone, but see, I don't pay for my use of my computer. I pay for the use of my phone, so they want that. Plus, they want to keep track of me in some little way, right? But I think my days of doing live streams off my computer are done, so I can't do any of the fancy backgrounds or any of that. And it's very hard doing it on the phone because, I get calls coming in and there are other things, right? But I guess it's better than nothing. All right. If I can find out what's going on, I'll fix it. But I don't even know if it's well. I've cut back on so many things. I don't even know if I feel like putting out the effort to fix it. Yeah, time for flip phones again. Well, you can't find one of those. And even if you have one, they won't let it work. Okay. All right. I'll go through the chat real quick. I'm going to take it from the bottom this time, from where it is, and we'll see if there's anybody saying anything. Yeah, didn't the National Guard always? I used to be a garden plot commander. That's civil disturbance operations. Okay, I know all about it. But Jade Helm had another purpose. Jade Helm had the purpose of geospatial intelligence and verifying that geospatial intelligence so they know they could trust it in the future. They're going to use it against us. They're not going to use it against Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the drug cartels, or any of that. No. They're going to use it against you and me. That's what that's for. So they went out during Jade Helm. I caught them doing it. I caught one of their guys, probably one of their InfraGard lackeys, and I scared the crap out of him because I saw him twice. I know what he's up to, and I followed him, and he took off. So he knew that I had made him. And he left, and I followed him all the way a couple of miles from here to a Home Depot. And he thought he lost me in the parking lot, but I was watching him. So I backed off a little bit, and guess what? He went right back to my area. And then when he realized I was following him from behind, he finally left. And guess what, folks? He had called for backup. There were 2 police cruisers not far away because they thought I was going to take him out. That's what's going on. They don't give a shit about what Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Schiff, Soros is still free. Why? Delta Force could have taken him out a long time ago. Oh no, Durham's going after an American that finally has had enough and he blows his top. Durham is in Connecticut. Connecticut is a cauldron. Do you know what a witch's cauldron is? That's what Connecticut is. And I have been refraining from saying that for a long time. But that's why nothing came out of those Sandy Hook things. It is a witch's cauldron. Communities, entire communities of these people. And Durham's got to be one of them. Why did he go after Whitey Bulger? Probably because, and not just Whitey Bulger, but the FBI agents that did that whole dirty deal there. They killed off those other guys and then tried to cover it up. Probably because they were considered competitors. They probably had something going on the side. And so Durham realized he had to take. I don't trust Durham. From Connecticut, number one. Number two, he goes after this blowhard and lets these other people off in droves. I'm sorry I got off the chat. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think self-quarantining is out. That's the civil disobedience now. The thing is that they will release a real bioweapon. If this one isn't, again, this is being used as one. Okay, I said that from the start. But they will release a really bad one if we don't comply. But you know what? I think it's time that we say we're not putting up with this bullshit, Trump. We're not putting up with it. Mike Adams, I love you, but there's something not making any sense here. Shepard Ambellis, I love you, but there's something not making any sense here. Newt Gingrich goes over to Italy and he says, oh, we've got to get behind this right now. We've got about 2 weeks. Might not even be the same thing. As a matter of fact, it probably isn't. And I don't know that I've ever trusted Newt Gingrich anyway, because he's definitely a New World Order guy. There's no doubt about that. We're just going to have to learn to take care of ourselves, and we're just going to, they will get to the point, like this thing in New Orleans and in Champaign, that if you don't follow their little rules, they will pick you up off the streets. I guarantee it. You're going to have to do what they did in, where was that? In France. The yellow vests. When all of this stuff started coming down from Macron about the self-quarantining and the curfews and all that, they just flooded the streets, millions of them. Of course, they've been doing that for over a year now, over this whole nonsense that Macron has been doing. Where the hell are the Americans? We're sitting in our homes, we're hoarding the toilet paper. We're taking things away from the older people that need the stores for their sustenance. I'm not saying that you shouldn't prepare. I believe in preparing. But this raiding the stores has been absolutely ridiculous. I've been preparing for years. I think I put up a thing there where I showed you I went to the store, but I didn't frickin' buy out all the toilet paper. I didn't frickin' buy out a whole row of canned goods. I supplemented what I had already used. Well, okay, let me keep looking at this. Oh, it must be here somewhere. Is that right? Yeah, the elites, Liza Jeans, you're right, are terrified of anybody who understands any of this. And I'm beginning to wonder what the hell's wrong with Alex Jones. You know, I know people will say he's compromised. But I really think it's PTSD. I think he's just been looking into this chasm, this abyss for way too damn long. By the way, I really like I like Owen Schroyer. He's saying pretty much the same things I am, despite what Mike Adams says. And you know, I I I agree that they have to be ahead of this thing, but you got to understand, and I think you do, that doing this to Americans without closing the southern borders and without stopping interstate, airline travel, those two things don't add up. Yeah, and still promoting Trump, Janet. You're right. That's the other thing Alex does. I mean, he's hard on him in one way, but then he keeps promoting. Oh, Trump. He's always making him look like the victim. And I'm really sick and tired of that. The guy's the freaking president of the United States. I don't care. Ugh. Rich Higgins. He's probably watching me here today. I really like Rich Higgins. I really do. But Rich, I got to tell you, it's not making any sense. It's not making any sense. And you told me to stay on him, and I will stay on him. I'm going to tell everybody here. Rich Higgins told me. I think it was not during the live stream, but off when we were off the air. He said I was telling him that the way I feel about this, and he says, "No, it's okay. Stay on Trump." So maybe publicly, Rich has to, so that he can keep on the inside, get this stuff done. But it worries me some of the time when we just don't tell the truth. And then I heard somebody say that old Q bullshit, oh, disinformation is necessary. This isn't an operation by an intelligence agency against another intelligence agency. And even if it were, you're not going to hide anything from the IC, from the NSA. These people that say that, the lies are necessary to fool the bad guys. What? The bad guys control all that. Are you kidding me? The people that say that are ridiculous. Disinformation is necessary when you're dealing in a very small circle, an enclosed cell, compartmentalization. But on the scale of Q, that's asinine. The fact of the matter is this: the father of lies spreads lies and has all kinds of excuses for it. God will be upfront with you. I'm not saying he doesn't have secrets. He's not going to tell you something that you don't have any right to know about, like how to, use a wormhole or something like that. Because God wants you to develop your characteristics, the good side of you, your understanding, your wisdom, your charity, your understanding of justice. So that's the reason. It's not to have this or this devilish control over you. So God will never lie to you, ever, for any reason whatsoever. He may not tell you the whole story, but he's never. You ask him I'll tell you how it is. You ask God a question, and he'll say to you, I'm only going to tell you this much. I'm not going to tell you the rest of it. I'm only going to tell you this much. And what he tells you will be the absolute truth. The big question is, how do you know it's God that you're dealing with? It's not as hard as you might think, but that's the issue. Headlines with a voice. I'm glad you're here. Yes, fuck them. We will not comply, and that's really where this has got to go. I just got interested in whiskey, right? The last 3 months. I am really into Scotch. I think that's which doesn't surprise me because that's where my family is from, is the Norse and the Scottish and the Irish and those people. That's really where I'm from. And as a matter of fact, we've done our genealogy, and we have some really really badass Vikings in our background, in our family tree. I mean, badass ones. I'm not even really proud of what they did, but that was a different time. But at any rate. But that's, I think, I think I told you, when I did my little whiskey live stream that years ago I just smell whiskey and I'd want to gag, right? Well, maybe that was the cheap stuff because a lot of my uncles drank the cheap stuff. I'm not going to do that. I figure if I'm gonna have a drink of alcohol, it's going to be something decent. And so the first Scotch I ever had was the one I showed you. A friend of mine brought me a bottle of Glenfiddich 15 year Solera, and oh my gosh, I mean that converted me right there. So I don't want anybody to tell me that I can't go to the store. And in Wyoming we have liquor stores. In Utah they have state liquor stores. So the state liquor stores in Utah are closed on Sundays, and they're on holidays and open to all other kinds of controls. Not so in Wyoming, but I don't want somebody to tell me that I can't go when I'm done with my bottle of Glenfiddich, that I can't go to the store and get another one or buy as many as I want. You ever wonder about the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms? It used to be called the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, BNDD. Yeah, Trump is going along with his bullshit, and he's not giving us any information. He's giving us stuff without concrete evidence. He hasn't even he'll blame it on China. He says it's a Chinese virus, but they're not telling us any other information about it. They certainly know the RNA situation with this virus by now. They know it. They know the genetic sequence of this virus. They know whether or not it's been manipulated. And they know if the numbers are really what they say they are. When you shut down a society, how do you verify that what the government tells you is true? You can have body bags filled with newspapers. You can have coffins, just empty coffins lined up. I saw a picture of that and I'm saying that doesn't prove anything. No, I'm sorry. It's up to them to prove what's going on, but this national secrecy stuff is out of control. Yeah, we've just got to defy them. That's all there is to it now. Trump is fine. This is a friggin' killer. Purple Mambo. If it's a fucking killer, how come Mexico, Purple Mambo, how come Mexico says they're going to close their border to the United States? They're not going to let any Americans down there. They can do that, but they kick, scream, holler, and yell when we say we're not going to allow them across the border into the United States. Now, Purple Mambo, think about that. Think about that. This is a game. This is subterfuge. This is to keep us so inundated with information. Like a principle of war is mass. Surprise and mass are two of the principles of war, and there's some others. But this one fits that. The surprise is we don't know what's going on. The mass is there's so much information you can't figure out. You can't even solve one problem before you're hit with another. That's a wave. Those are attacks in waves, massive waves of attacks. That's exactly what they're doing. This is being run by the intelligence community and the military-industrial complex, guaranteed. All of the evidence is there. No, Trump is not fine. And the virus might be a killer, but information is power. And the people don't have any information here, not of any real substance. They're shutting down our communications. They're shutting down our Bill of Rights, and Trump does nothing. Just trust the plan. Yeah, I know. I see your face there. I know you're saying, oh, brother. Yeah, they are going to lock down New York, Washington, all of California eventually. It's going to be nationwide. He's given it 15 days, right? He put out 15 days, stay inside, self-isolate, all this bullshit. Mike Adams, you can write me and tell me, okay, that I'm full of shit. That's fine, but this is not adding up. I'm looking at this thing from a military standpoint. You're looking at it from a medical standpoint. I wonder who's going to win out on this one. It's probably, somewhere in the middle. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with people on here. The fact of the matter is that this is not making any sense whatsoever. When you say that you have to lock down the American people in any way, shape, or form, even suggest it to them that all the self-isolation and all that, you tell them that, and you put the National Guard on the street, but they're not on the border, and they're not stopping people from. If you're try going to Canada. It's always one way, us going somewhere else. Have you noticed that? It's never about stopping the people from coming in. I have a friend that came through the Canadian border up by British Columbia into Washington State. And they did harass her when she came through. She was coming down to spend a few weeks, do some skiing and stuff. So, she had a few things in her car. And they did harass her. They did. But guess what? She's a white lady. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I better go. I've been on here for almost 45 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're being had. Trump's not telling us the truth. The seriousness that they cite for these controls don't make any sense when you look at the big picture. It doesn't make any sense. Please go look at Gigi Sims' Twitter and read that. Um, Again, I don't know if you'll be able to find it. You should be able to. Um, the, the, the thread I'm talking about, it starts out, I find it impossible to believe that POTUS would risk all that he has built with the election months away without concrete intel. And then there's a thread there. It's about 6 or 8 long. I'm done. Please keep track of Headlines with a Voice too. There's a scripture, and it says there in the last days there'll be few men left, and what it means is few good men left. And it says, but those good men will be compassed. Isaiah said, and I will show you a strange thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Wow. Where are all the good men? Who's really doing anything? I appreciate Alex Jones for what he's doing, but he tried to get too big too fast, and all he is one continuous run-on commercial. I support him, but I don't like going there and spending an hour of his entertainment. Maybe I'm doing that to you today. An hour of, I go there for an hour and I get 50 minutes of entertainment, bullshit, and merchandising for maybe 5 minutes worth of decent information. And I really do get tired of that. And he's made it that way throughout his entire organization. I like David Knight immensely. I like Owen Schroyer. I like Rob Dew, all those people. But they have to do what Alex says to do. And they just tried to grow too big. And so now it's about selling and keeping them alive rather than giving us the information we really need. And I'm disappointed. So that's why I like Gigi Sims so much. That's why I like Headlines with a Voice. You go to them and they cut right to the chase. I love Nancy. She gets on there, and the longest I think she's ever had. I'm not going to ask you how long your longest one, Nancy, has been, but normally her uploads are 4 to 5 minutes. Amazing. It's just amazing. And Gigi can put out 6 or 8, tweets in a Twitter thread and say more than I can in an hour on YouTube. Thanks, ladies. You are the shining example, and you are the Deborahs. You are. You probably won't understand some of this. Deborahs, you will. You're the Deborahs of the last days. You're the Boudica, the Queen Boudicas of the last days. Nancy Morganhart, you took the name of Nancy Morganhart. I think we all know that's not your real name. That's pretty much obvious. You've taken it because that's a historical figure, and she certainly, you certainly exemplify her example. And there have been many others. Yeah, a woman shall come. I shall show you a strange thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Men, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Absolutely ashamed of ourselves. Okay, no formal ending. We're done. I'll talk to you later, everybody. Out here for now, okay?